My kind and inquisitive Virgo friend. Hello and welcome. My name is Mina, and I'm here to offer you a 3-card reading exploring the themes of you, your path, and your potential. I invite you to consider what the reading reveals about possible challenges, opportunities, and personal growth for the week ahead. Take a deep breath, rest your mind, and let's see what the cards have to share with you today. Virgo, you may find yourself standing at the edge of something quietly unfamiliar this week. There's a subtle quiver behind your daily routines, a sense that what once offered comfort now asks for a new kind of attention. You're precise by nature, always seeking to understand the mechanics of what's unfolding around you. Yet lately, you might sense a tug beneath the surface, a gentle restlessness, a whisper that the old ways of organizing your days aren't quite fitting the contours of your heart. It's not a loud anxiety, but a persistent hum, a reluctance to settle for what no longer feels true. You might notice it in the space between tasks, in a fleeting urge to start fresh, or in the way your thoughts drift toward possibility rather than the safety of the known. There's longing here, mixed with uncertainty. It's as if a door has creaked open somewhere inside, and you're not sure if you're meant to step through or simply acknowledge that the room has changed. You're standing with the energy of the fool at your back. This isn't about naivety or blind leaps, but about an openness that you haven't let yourself feel in some time. It's a softness, a willingness to admit you don't have every answer. In the past, you've relied on careful planning and measured steps. Now there's an unfamiliar freedom in the air. It might show up as a willingness to pause before responding, to let yourself wonder what would happen if you tried something new. You might catch yourself hesitating at the threshold of habit, feeling the urge to rearrange your workspace, to take a different route, to simply see what else might be possible if you step outside your usual patterns. This inner state is not without its discomforts. There's vulnerability here, a recognition that the ground beneath you is less certain than you prefer, but there's also relief in naming it. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. In fact, the more you allow yourself to not know, the more honest your days become. You may feel a flicker of excitement, a quiet pulse of curiosity that tempers the anxiety. Something in you wants to explore, to let go of the pressure to be endlessly prepared. You might feel both braver and more exposed, but you're not reckless. You're simply letting yourself breathe in the unknown. The week begins with this tension, the desire to start anew, matched by the awareness that beginnings are always a little strange and a little beautiful. What rises from this openness is the first ripple of momentum. Your willingness to stand at the edge, uncertain but awake, sets the stage for a new kind of forward motion. The pressure to choose, to act, to give shape to this nascent energy begins to build. You feel it in the way your mind sharpens, in the way you start to look for clarity amidst the fog. This isn't a passive week. Your inner restlessness nudges you to engage, to respond to the world with more than observation. The Knight of Swords arrives, bringing with it a current of urgency and determination. Events may seem to pick up speed, as if every conversation, every decision carries more weight. You may feel a surge of mental energy, a compulsion to solve, to clarify, to set things in motion. The world responds to your openness not with gentle breezes, but with brisk winds. There's a sense of friction. Perhaps you find yourself defending a new idea, or pressing up against someone else's expectations. The pace of the week may leave little room for hesitation, and you might feel both invigorated and unsettled by how quickly things are moving. These pressures aren't obstacles so much as invitations to bring your focus to what matters most. The sharpness in the air is not meant to cut you down, but to carve away what distracts you from your true intentions. You may notice old doubts resurfacing, or feel the urge to retreat when conversations grow intense. Yet beneath the surface there is a growing clarity, a sense of what you're willing to pursue and what you're ready to release. The friction you encounter is the world's way of testing your resolve, of asking you to commit to the direction your heart is pulling you. This is not a time for scattered energy. The week asks for your presence, your willingness to speak your mind, and your courage to move forward even when the outcome is uncertain. The intensity of this path is not random. It is shaped by your own openness, your readiness to meet the unknown. The more you show up for these moments, the more the world seems to respond in kind. But your potential is not realized merely by pushing forward. It is found in how you hold these pressures, how you choose to engage with the challenges that arise. The path demands participation, not perfection. What becomes possible is shaped by how gently you treat yourself when the stakes feel high, and how honestly you acknowledge what you want to create. Arriving at the week's potential, the Six of Cups opens the door to a gentler kind of growth. This is not about triumph or conquest, but about rediscovering a sense of wonder and ease. If you meet the pressures of the week with honesty and compassion, you find yourself gifted with moments of genuine connection, both with yourself and with those around you. The rush of events slows, just enough to let you remember what it feels like to trust your own instincts. There is an invitation here to let nostalgia become nourishment, rather than a reason to look backward with regret. You might notice small joys returning, a playfulness threading through your days. It could be as simple as a familiar song on the radio, the comfort of an old friend's laughter, or the feeling of satisfaction after following your curiosity. This potential doesn't erase the week's tensions, but it softens them. Growth arrives not as a sudden breakthrough, but as a gradual melting of resistance. You begin to remember the parts of yourself that thrive on exploration, that delight in the process rather than the destination. There's a gentle reconciliation between who you've been and who you're becoming, a sense that you can hold both with kindness. The Six of Cups reminds you that new beginnings are enriched by the wisdom of your past, and that wonder is always available when you allow yourself to meet the present moment with openness. Taken together, these three moments form a quiet arc. You begin with uncertainty, a willingness to question the old ways, to let yourself feel both eager and exposed. As the week unfolds, this openness invites momentum and challenge. The external world seems to test your readiness, asking you to clarify your intentions and to move with conviction. It's not always comfortable, but it is honest. Through it all, you are invited to soften, to remember that growth does not require force. The energy of the week is not about abandoning yourself to chaos, but about learning to trust your own rhythms. In the end, you find reassurance not in having every answer, but in knowing you have the courage to begin again, gentler, wiser, more at ease with the unknown. The tension subsides, leaving you steadier than before. This is a week for rediscovering your own resilience, for letting your heart lead you quietly forward, even when the path is unfamiliar. Actionable insights for Virgo this week. Try letting one small decision come from curiosity rather than habit. Allow yourself a few moments to enjoy something that reminds you of simpler times. Notice what feels new even in the middle of your routine. Spoken word affirmations to repeat aloud for a more positive mindset. I am allowed to begin again. Each new step can be gentle. My curiosity is enough for today. I trust where I am and where I am going. And now, dear friend, I thank you for giving me your time. I truly hope I have given you something helpful in return. Goodbye and good luck until next time.